When we think about infrastructure, our minds usually go to concrete, steel, pipes. But what if one simple water pipe could do so much more? What if it could actually reshape public health, empower a huge part of the population, and even become a secret engine for a country's entire agricultural strategy? Today, we're diving into India's Jal Jeevan mission. And let me tell you, the story it tells isn't just about water. It's about a series of profound ripple effects.
And really, to get a sense of the scale here, you just have to look at this. On the left, that's the map from 2019. You can see huge parts of rural India had little to no access to tap water at home. Now look at the right. By December 2025, that map is practically a sea of blue. It is a stunning transformation in just a handful of years. So it begs the question, right? What really happens when you turn on the taps for millions and millions of people all at once?
So first things first, let's just take a moment to appreciate the speed of this whole thing. This wasn't some slow, decade-long process. Nope. This was a mission put into overdrive, designed to fundamentally change the day-to-day reality for hundreds of millions of people, and fast.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Where do we start from? Back in August of 2019, this was the reality. Just 17% of rural homes, that's about 3.23 crore households, had a working tap. For pretty much everyone else, getting water meant a daily, time-consuming, and often exhausting struggle.
Now fast forward to December 2025, and wow, that number just explodes to over 81%. We're talking about more than 15.76 crore rural homes now having tap water. The scale is just massive, but the numbers, as big as they are only half the story. The real story is what this new reality actually unlocks. And that brings us to what I'm calling the first ripple effect, the human dividend. Because the most immediate change when you provide tap water isn't economic, it's deeply personal. It's about giving people back two of the most precious things we have, right? Time and health. Okay, get this. This number is just incredible. Every single day, over 5.5 crore hours are saved. And you have to understand, this time is overwhelmingly given back to women and girls. They're the ones who traditionally have the burden of fetching water, often walking for miles. This isn't just about convenience, it's a massive redistribution of labor, every single day.
And the health side of this? It's just as stunning. The World Health Organization figures that access to safe water from this mission has prevented almost 400,000 deaths from things like diarrheal diseases. I mean, think about that. It's a huge public health victory, and it didn't come from some high-tech vaccine. It came from a simple pipe.
Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting. These gains in time and health, they don't just end there. They combine to create something new, a massive, previously untapped economic resource. Healthier people with more free time can simply do more, and that's where we see the second ripple start to form. So that leads to the obvious question, doesn't it? You've got millions of women who suddenly have hours back in their day. Where does all that time go? I mean, it has to go somewhere, right? It gets redirected. And yeah, the research backs this up completely. That saved time is flowing straight into the rural economy. Women are getting more involved in farming and other related work. Basically, the daily, back-breaking job of hauling water is being swapped out for productive work, which fundamentally grows the available labor force in rural India. And look, this isn't just a handful of individual stories. We're talking about a massive, national-level shift here. This newly available workforce lines up perfectly with and is actually fueling India's bigger strategic goals for agriculture.
See, the country's whole agricultural strategy has been shifting towards something called efficiency-driven growth. The idea is pretty simple, really. With limited land and water, you can't just keep throwing more resources at the problem, you've got to get smarter. The focus is now on diversifying into higher-value products and using technology to get more from less. And all of that requires more hands-on management, more labor.
And if you want proof, just look at the data. It shows exactly where this shift is happening. The traditional crop sector grew at about 3.5% over the last decade. But look at the more labor-intensive sectors, like livestock and fisheries. They grew at more than double that rate. This diversification, that's the new engine of agricultural growth. And guess who's powering it? That newly freed-up workforce.
Here's another way to look at it. For the first time ever, the production of high-value horticulture, we're talking fruits and vegetables, has actually surpassed the production of traditional food grains. This is a huge shift, and it tells you everything you need to know about where things are heading. Farmers are moving toward crops that are more profitable, but often require more work. So, when you put all these pieces together, a really clear picture starts to form. This whole mission, it was never just about water, was it? It was about setting off a chain reaction.
The cause and effect here is just so powerful and so direct. It all starts with one thing, providing a tap. That simple step saves time and makes people healthier. That, in turn, directly empowers women by freeing them from a daily chore. And that newfound empowerment then boosts the entire agricultural economy by supplying the human capital it desperately needs to make a strategic pivot. It's just a perfect example of how one piece of basic infrastructure can have these incredible, cascading economic effects.
And that kind of leaves us with a really fascinating thought to chew on, doesn't it? We're often looking for these complex, high-tech fixes to drive economic growth. But what this story shows us is that sometimes the biggest changes come from solving the most basic problems. It really makes you wonder, what other simple, foundational things are we overlooking that could unlock this kind of massive chain reaction?